Merry Christmas and welcome back to All About English. I'm Dennis Wilborn, and this is my new segment. I'm calling it Read All About It. And I'm excited to share with you this Christmas season my reading and explanation of Charles Dickens's classic tale, A Christmas Carol. This beloved story is presented in 26 parts, allowing us to dive deeper into the themes and messages of the story. So please join me as we follow the journey of Ebenezer Scrooge and discover the true meaning of Christmas. Let's begin our adventure with Chapter 1 of A Christmas Carol, Marley's Ghost. Jumping right into Marley's Ghost. All right. Marley's Ghost. Ooh. Chapter 1, Vocabulary. Undertaker. A person whose job is to prepare the bodies of dead people to be buried or cremated and to arrange funerals. Now, there's an expression you don't really hear too often these days. Undertaker. Maybe that's because we just, everyone goes to the funeral home these days. I'm not sure. What do they call a person who takes care and prepares the bodies? Where you're from. But this is kind of an old expression. I've never heard anyone use that in the modern time, but you might hear it in old Western movies or old movies or in old stories such as this one. The next one up is mourner. Mourner, a person who attends a funeral. A mourner. Yeah, because it's a person who mourns. This is a typical expression that turns a verb, to mourn, into a noun by adding er or or. It's a person who mourns. Ooh. The mourners were all dressed in black. That's a good one. Tight-fisted. Oh, I love this expression. This is a great adjective. Someone who is not willing to spend or give away money. Someone who's cheap. They're tight-fisted. Their fist is so tight, you can't get the money out. Mr. Stevens is very tight-fisted. He never donates any money to charity. Yeah. When I first came to Korea, someone told me about the Korean term is jandori. Jandori is the same exact meaning of somebody who just doesn't want to spend their money. Tight-fisted. Entreaty. Entreaty is a noun, a serious and often emotional request. Despite his entreaties, his wife left him. There's another word. It's a noun that is not often used today, but one that is good to put into your vocabulary. Let's see if we can bring that back. He made desperate entreaties to get the council to change their opinion. Yeah, really good stuff. To bestow a trifle. Wow, there's a really old word, an old expression, old phrase. The act of giving something to someone, even if that object isn't valuable. He is so cheap. He never bestows a trifle to anyone. To bestow, yeah, I mean, to bestow is an old word. It means to give someone. We often hear like bestow a blessing on someone or to bestow a gift. But in this case, to bestow a trifle means giving someone something that's usually worthless. It's not worth anything. It's a trifle. A trifle means a very small thing of value, a thing of very small value or something. Okay, here's our passage for the day from the book, A Christmas Carol, Chapter 1, Marley's Ghost, Part 1. Marley was dead, to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it. Scrooge knew he was dead? Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name, however. There it yet stood years afterwards above the warehouse door, Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge Scrooge, and sometimes Marley. He answered to both names. It was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone. External heat and cold had little influence on him. No warmth could warm, no cold could chill him. No wind that blew was bitterer than he. No falling snow was more intent upon its purpose, no pelting rain less open to entreaty. Foul weather didn't know where to have him. The heaviest rain and snow and hail and sleet could boast of the advantage over him in only one respect. They often came down handsomely, and Scrooge never did. Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say, with gladsome looks, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" No. No beggars implored him to bestow a trifle. No children asked him what it was o'clock. No man or woman ever once in all his life inquired the way to such and such a place of Scrooge. Even the blind men's dogs appeared to know him, and when they saw him coming on, would tug their owners into doorways and up courts, and then would wag their tails as though they said, "No eye at all is better than an evil eye, dark master." But what did Scrooge care? It was the very thing he liked, to edge his way along the crowded paths of life, warning all human sympathy to keep its distance, was what the knowing ones call nuts to Scrooge. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, upon a Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting, foggy weather, and the city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. Ooh, I love the imagery that is being painted with the words that Charles Dickens uses to describe Scrooge. I would love to hear some of the things that you find or that you hear when you read this. Let's see if you can understand what was Marley's relationship with Scrooge. That's a very good question. It's mentioned right at the very beginning, the very first word in the story, Marley. And what does it say about Marley? He was dead to begin with. At the very beginning of the story, he was already dead. What do we care about Marley? So, what is his relationship? Well, we don't really know other than they were partners. Scrooge and he were partners. So that's how you find that out. They were partners, and Scrooge never bothered to paint out old Marley's name. And they were partners for I don't know how many years. As the narrator, I have no idea. It must not be important to the story. So we don't know how long ago it was that Marley died, but he's no longer with us. How is Scrooge described as a boss? Yes, I love some of the descriptions of Scrooge as a boss. He was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone. That's a great expression. We already talked about tight-fisted. It means someone who doesn't want to spend much money. But at the grindstone. Grindstone is an idiomatic verb, idiomatic phrase that we use to talk about. That's the thing that we describe as work. If you're doing the same job over and over, a grindstone is used to grind things. So just imagine two stones working together, grinding away at grain, or a grinding stone used to sharpen some metal object like a sword or a knife. So he's just really tight-fisted. He doesn't want to spend any money. He's making people work very hard. And external heat and cold had no influence on him. No warmth could warm, and no chill could chill. He's so unfeeling that nothing affects his mood. He's just dark. Dark. No wind that blew was bitterer than he. A bitter wind. He's a very bitter man. No no falling snow was more intent upon its purpose. No pelting rain less open to entreaty. You could see snow that would be less intent on the purpose of falling than Scrooge was about getting work done. Rain was less he was less open to pleas of mercy than rain would be. Wow, rain's more open to entreaty. That's a really amazing thing to say about his style as a boss. Nobody liked him. That's what this whole opening section talks about. We will get more into this tomorrow as we continue with part 2 of chapter 1, continuing on with Marley's ghost. Thank you for joining me tonight, and have a great day. Merry Christmas. Thanks for joining me on this reading of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And if you want to continue the story, just click on the box right over there. I am always grateful for your support, so please remember to like and subscribe for more from All About English. Merry Christmas.